Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right, we are actually finishing up breakfast. I just did an episode showing people how we set up the inverter cooking system using the Vibe, and I actually ate one of the sandwiches already. I'm getting ready to eat the other. I think I'll have some orange juice here, so it's a pretty awesome breakfast to be having here at my little lovely spot. Basically, we were testing the concept of using the inverter cooking system in the Vibe. Um, it worked, although I did discover something. Placing the rice cooker right here could be a potential problem. Has to do with condensation. But I had the air conditioner on. You know, the temperature here today, right now in Florida, is I think in the 70s, high 60s or low 70s. Kind of a little bit damp and humid. I had the air conditioner running. The car was running because it was generating electricity that I was using, for the inverter cooking system. I just had it mounted directly under the hood and had my handy dandy portable cable power here. But we went ahead and made McNoy sandwiches just for old time's sake. And, I'm obviously not gonna be living in this thing full time, but just wanted to show viewers what it would be kind of like living in this thing and some thoughts on what could be done. I can see that, this will work, except that with the AC running, it got really cool here. I did not sleep in the Vibe, although in the video, I wake up in the Vibe. I'm gonna have to make multiple videos. I do have a video where I was starting to build the system, but then when you're building, like I tell people, stuff comes up. That's why a lot of the van builds, they don't really show the build itself. They might show like a time warped version of it where they're not really talking about it and stuff, because during any build, as you know, Timothy, as you started to build out your vehicle, what you had envisioned in your mind doesn't necessarily work. And you don't know it until you build it and test it and you go, wow, crap, that sucks. Same with the Vibe. So I've had to make some adaptations. I'll run the videos just to show people what actually happens. Like, you have a theory of how things would work, and you start to do whatever you think will work, and then you find out, it doesn't work. Or little things like power drops. Like my battery was going dead. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I've created a crazy short, an electrical short in the whole vehicle, and I'm destroying the car. I'll talk a little bit about how I kind of troubleshot what the issue was and why my battery was dying. So that was all done because I was trying to set up the vehicle house system. The vehicle is. I know you guys are probably getting bad videos because this is live, which is why I'm kind of trying to record segments. But you can see what happens when I go back to recorded format. You're now about 3, 4 videos behind. So when I show the live segment, I mean, not the live segments, but the pre-recorded segments, which were just done over the last 2 days, it could take me another day or two to upload them and stuff, depending. But unless I just run them nonstop and just keep uploading them. But then you get like 3 or 5 videos on one day, and then there's no content for another week. So you see why I like going live is you get immediate feedback. I can answer your questions and stuff, even though the quality of the video is going to suffer because I'm at a bad location, and also my data has been throttled back. But I am going to go ahead and finish up this McNoy. It is super, super delicious. I had 2 of them. One is already in my tummy. The Vibe would actually be pretty comfortable to sleep in. I know you don't see it, but there's actually a power unit in the back with a fan, USB charger. I could even run a laptop back there. So, Merry Christmas, Paul. But basically, I did a video already showing when I was going to wire it, and it actually ran into the problem where, because I was watching the voltage on the vehicle battery, it should be like 12.8, but it was dropping down to like 12.3, 12.2, 12.1. I was like, oh my gosh, it should not be dropping. And the fact that it was dropping made me think that there was a short. I had created a short circuit. Then I had to try to troubleshoot where the short circuit was occurring. And what it turned out, just to, in case you guys encounter situations like that, it wasn't a short circuit. What had happened, because I was messing with the battery and, the battery connectors, I'm talking about the clamps that go onto the battery terminals, it got loose. And a loose connection will make your voltage drop and act funny. So I was afraid that I had either destroyed my battery, somehow blew some of the cells, or the alternator had died, which would have sucked. But it turned out it was just a loose connection. So once I tightened the connection, power came back up. I was like, thank goodness I didn't destroy everything. So then I proceeded again, and I can give you guys a quick look of what it looks like in here right now. But you can see this is for storing cold food, and basically you could plug this into the 12-volt system, which I have multi-port, so you could use it like that if you wanted to, which will, I may discuss in a future video. But you've seen most of this in Little Blue too. It's just moved to a different vehicle. But basically, you plug that in here, you get multi outlet, and when you're driving, that thing can be turned on and it'll stay cool. But if you put like a little cup of ice that you pick up from a gas station, you could keep drinks and stuff chilled in here. This opens up. I put it here so you can access it from the driver's seat. So I could have cold soda in there, whatever cold food you need in there, like a bologna itself, or sandwich stuff. You can keep food in there for a day or two cold without spending money, because the whole idea of this was to do it so that you're trying to conserve money, and without having to spend huge amounts of money on a house battery system or a solar charging, gear and all that. We're doing this as if you were just Joe Schmo who needed to survive in a vehicle. So this I had picked up at Goodwill for, I think, about $5 or something like that. You can buy them new for anywhere from $30 on up. But they're worth getting because they run off directly off 12 volts, so you could plug in. I wouldn't leave it running all night. Although if you had a huge battery bank with solar panels, you could do that, and you could have food chilled in that thing. But that doesn't really go that cold. It goes like about 20 to 30 degrees cooler than ambient temperature. So if it's 70 outside, it'll go down to about 50 or 40. But if it's 100 outside, it'll only go down to about 70 or 80 degrees, which isn't very cold for food. But it is handy. This car is so small. Look at the console here. It's so tiny. It doesn't, the console's the width of my hand, which is kind of useless. You can store things in it, and you can have bottles and stuff. Here, this bottle is oil. That's not pee. That was cooking oil from the cooking episode. For those of you getting grossed out, saying, "Oh my gosh, he's carrying around pee." No, that's cooking oil. But yeah, this is the other McNoy that I'm going to finish up right now. I've forgotten how much I like the McNoy sandwiches. But real quick tour. And I apologize for the quality. You'll get a better video later. It's a little windy out here. I am at my little beautiful spot here. Good place to wake up. You can see here is where I would keep food. You don't have to keep cold stuff in here. You can keep dry goods, cans, water. I just threw some in here because I'm not really living in it. It's just for the cooking episode. Obviously, we had to have Badia in there. And Badia, cooking supplies, spoons, knives, whatever. You can carry all this stuff in here. I wanted to show this storage space down here. This space down here could be used to store your clothes. Basically, you could have a backpack, or you could have those duffel bags. So I would get, really from Dollar Tree, they have little tiny duffel bags. You can get one for pants, one for shirts, one for socks, underwear, or whatever. And just stuff them in here, and that way you can pull them out as you need them. Because you don't have the big space to do a full-blown build-out. You could build this out completely if you wanted to. But if I was living in a vehicle this small, and I was going to build it out, I would upgrade to a van. It would be stupid to build this out. This vehicle is useful for transporting you to work without spending a lot of money on gas. But in the back here, you can see how we start to have like a nice little bed we can lay down. It's got a pillow. For the mattress, what I would do is just use 2 sleeping bags, and that'll cushion you really nice because you can take the sleeping bags and go camping with it. And then on top of it, I threw a comforter, and of course you have your pillow, you have a jacket. You would carry, if you were really living this, you'd probably carry a lot more than what I'm carrying. You'd carry a first aid kit, carry a fire, extinguisher, and you would have your whatchamacallit, your carbon monoxide detector and all that other stuff installed, just for safety. But this is the battery pack that I decided to go with for this because I had already bought it from the Hurricane. It is the little tiny unit from Walmart. I think they're currently selling this for $80. This is the equivalent of, do you guys remember the original Little Blue had the blue and white power pack, the battery pack that was to boost it? This is the same thing. This is $80 brand new at Walmart right now. Yeah, we just got disconnected, so I'm going to try to resume here. But this isn't the best unit, but it is good enough. It's simple and it's self-contained. It runs off, it produces like 12-volt power, but it also has a built-in inverter, a little tiny inverter. I don't know if you can see the little 115 or 120 volt plug there, but I think it's only like 100 watts. So once again, you could run a laptop on it, but you couldn't really run a rice cooker on it. It would be bad to try to run a rice cooker on that. Just put some dirt on my thing here, but anyhow, it has USB chargers that you could turn on and run all night. The problem I have with this stupid thing, if you run the USB charger, this screen is backlit. It's blue and it'll light up all night, so you'd have to cover it or something. So, the blue light doesn't keep you up all night, unless you don't mind having a blue light in your vehicle all night. It has a 12-volt access, so you could run like the fan. I'm trying to turn the fan on here. Wait a second here. Let's turn the fan on. And it's not coming on. Oh, it's loose. Okay, now the fan's on. So you can see how the fan works. So this is all you would need, and you can swivel this. You could tilt it. You have it pointing at you, so you can sleep all night, and it'll keep you nice and cool. And the good thing about this is you can actually look at the voltage. But on this, I think to see the voltage, you have to turn it on. But now see the power's low, and I just shut it off. I just shut off the DC. So there's some really weird quirks with this thing, because they put in like safeguards. Like they want to allow you to run the DC appliance when it's charging. And it's telling you it's like 12 volts, so it's low right now. So I'd have to charge it up. And that's what all those wires and stuff are. That was the system I was setting up where I was wiring this so you could charge it. And you can see it's beeping because it's low. So it's telling me right now it doesn't have enough electricity to do anything. But I turned it off right now. It's disconnected. I think when I turned it on right there, it might have been connecting to the vehicle battery, which isn't holding a charge. Probably because I've been using it for cooking. I just cooked a meal right there. So the vehicle right now is very weak on battery. Now, what's cool about having one of these is that, it's also a vehicle jumper. So if you keep it charged, you can jump your vehicle. And the way I've got it wired right now, it's working just like a house battery system. So if I fully was rigging this out and not doing this temp, like if I was truly living in it, I would wire this in as a second battery to the vehicle battery, so it becomes a house battery. And then I would hook up my inverter. Instead of going under the hood right there, that little red thing, I would hook it up to this. But it already has an inverter. Yeah, but this inverter is 120 or 110. That other one's 750. I'll go with the 750 and cook from here. So I could cook in the back of the vehicle if I wanted to, or I could run the line up front and put it in that seat and cook while I'm driving. Obviously, if I was going to do that, I'd have to build a little special attachment, just like I did for Little Blue for the rice cooker, so stuff doesn't spill everywhere. So that's pretty much it right here. If you were sleeping in this, you might want to block out the windows. Timothy shows you some ways to do it, but you could also get curtains, or you could get, might even get the foam stuff that they sell, the poster board at at Dollar Tree. You know how they sell the poster board, the thick, foamy poster board thingy? You can get like the black ones, and then you could blank out your windows that way. So This is how I would live in it if I were going to live in this. I might even build, like, if I were truly living in it, you know, like for months on end, I would build a little tiny shelf area here so that everything would be mounted in place. The inverter, all this stuff would be put here, you know, so that it could be not moved around. But the way it is right now, everything can be pulled out. And honestly, if you were going really simple and you didn't know how to build anything, you would want like an inverter. You could hook it up directly to your battery under your hood, and you could use one of these units. Because it turns out that this unit, when I was testing it, it will actually let you charge it by hooking it up to the vehicle battery while the battery, you know, when you run the car, your vehicle battery charges through the alternator. Well, if you hook this thing up and you turn it on, it'll actually reverse charge. So it'll run the alternator would generate electricity, go through to your vehicle battery, and also siphon some off to this thing. So you could charge this unit in probably about 15 to 30 minutes, hooking it up to your car and running it. So, you know, in a worst case scenario, if you didn't know any wiring or anything, you get one of these and you run your car and you know, open up the hood and you charge it up each day. Of course, you waste about 15 minutes worth of gas, you know, just idling, 15 to 30 minutes idling while you charge up this thing. And the reason you charge this up is so at night you can run it, you know, to charge up your phone and also to run the fan all night so you don't cook to death, you don't burn, you don't get too hot. So a good temporary unit, not the best, but $80 and off the shelf. And it also has an emergency compressor. It's got a light. See, I turned a little light on. You can turn on a little light. I don't know if you see the light going on and off. So it's got some built-in stuff. The handle's pretty cool for mounting your fan. And it's got a jump starter. It's got AC for your phones. There's actually a DC charger. So you could conceivably, if you didn't want to run the lines here that I did, because this takes a DC, it has a DC charger that runs off 120 volts, 115 volts. You could use the Vibes built-in inverter, which is about 120 watts, and hook up the charger for this thing on that. So when you're driving your car, the Vibe, it's really inefficient to do it that way though. The Vibe will generate electricity, 12 volts, convert it to 115, go through the charger, come to this guy, and charge this up. So you could do it like that, which is what I did with the Boost It. If you watched, I think before I started filming for YouTube, people who were watching me survive on the Living in a Van Facebook page, we did that. I basically had a small inverter and I had a charging unit. I had a battery charger that I ran on it. And I would charge the Boost It using that battery charger. It was so inefficient, but it worked. You know, it worked enough every day for me. And I didn't do any building. I just hooked stuff up. Doing it like this with the wire and stuff, which I show you in a later episode here that you're going to see. It shows you how you take the line from there and you make the, I don't know if you can see here, the little switch box here, which has the power system. It's similar to a little Blue system. You know, I made all this so I can remove it because this car's going to my wife here shortly. So this is not permanent. This is a one-day build and the ability to switch stuff on and off. So when I throw the switch on, it actually connects the vehicle battery to the house battery. You know, when I say the vehicle battery, I'm talking about under the hood. And when I say the house battery, I'm talking about this battery here. It'll connect the two batteries, which means when I'm driving around, it automatically charges. That's why I don't need a solar panel. I don't need all that fancy stuff. All I needed was the 10 gauge wire, the switches, and I also got a fuse, a 35 amp fuse. Okay, I'm pretty much done covering, so I'm just gonna wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Hello, Angry, good to see you. Merry Christmas. Good to see you, Lena. Merry Christmas. Janice, have a happy holiday. And of course, Paul. So basically, that's it. I am going to run the other videos. I'm going to film the other part later, which shows how to wire the inverter and stuff back here. And then after I finish filming all that, I'm gonna have to take all this apart because this is just set up temporarily. This is not. I'm not gonna be living it. Although I might ask my wife if she wants me to leave it set up, because occasionally she might end up wanting to go camping or something in this little car. So if that's the case, not that it takes a long time to set this up. I mean, come on, we're just throwing down some sleeping bags and a couple little portable units and a ice chest there, and you can live in the vehicle. So it's not like exactly that hard to set up once you know what will work. Um, so if we restore it back to normal, it takes like a whopping 2 minutes. Put the seat up, take the stuff out, we're done. Nothing is really screwed in. Nothing is bolted down. The only thing that was kind of a pain was pulling the wiring to pull out the 12 volts from the under the hood back here to my switch and then back through here. But I just ran it underneath here, underneath the trim. I didn't even have to take this apart. I just kind of lifted it up. I just pried it open and lifted it and then just tucked it under. And based it on the build of Little Blue too. So just to show you how we take one vehicle and we adapt it for another. This vehicle has some cool stuff, like we could watch movies on here. It's got a DVD player as well as a MP4 player on here, so I can watch movies. Although it behaves kind of weird. I think the technology on this phone, this stereo here is so old that they didn't design it for like big, huge memory sticks or memory cards. So I had gone crazy and put like 400, 600 songs on it and about 40 or 50 movies. All packed into that little unit. And what happened was it worked, but it would like go really slow trying to find everything. And then I think the movies, if you run movies on it, it tends to start to have a delay, a lag. So there's something wrong with the software. So I think if I delete it down to like just maybe 100 or 200 songs and a couple videos, it should be fine. I don't know. But honestly, having the screen here to watch really isn't as useful as you would think, because you get all this glare. I don't know if you can see the glare there. It's better to carry probably a tablet. If you want to watch movies and stuff, get a tablet that allows you to hook up USB device that you can store Medium on, or get yourself a little miniature mini notebook or a full-blown laptop. That's what I would recommend if you're whether you're in a van or an RV. It's portable. It's got a good size screen. We might even deck out this whole rear section here before I rip it apart, just to show you what it could look like, how comfortable it could be. Because you could have multimedia TV and stuff. As is right now, this thing has Bluetooth capabilities. And with the phone, when I have the Wi-Fi on, with the data plan, when it's not used up, maxed out like it is right now, this car becomes a Wi-Fi hotspot. So like when I have my kids here, they can actually surf the internet while we're driving down the highway, which is crazy. I'm like, wow, this is just amazing that we're able to do all this technology in this $800 car. I mean, I could have done the same thing in Little Blue, but Little Blue didn't have Bluetooth until I put in the new stereo. So Blue could do everything this one can right now. Just this one was already built in, and really good value. So until next time, everyone, I hope you all stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Hello, Jojo. Good to see you on here. Hello, Kristen. Merry Christmas to you. I'm going to end this broadcast and then probably run the construction videos so you can kind of see a little bit of some of the issues that come with trying to wire it and some of the things that may come up. I will film a later episode to show how I hook up the system to the house battery, so that if you're wanting to do a full build where you have your vehicle battery and you have a separate house battery and you have the two, so you can switch them together on and off. You can do it through what's called an isolator, a battery isolator, which is automatic, or you can do it through a manual switch. Now, I prefer the manual switch because then you can reverse jump. You can use your house battery to jump back, but also you have a lot more control. Whereas an isolator, it automatically shuts on and off by itself, depending on whether or not your car's running or not, and how low the battery is. So an isolator makes it easier for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing to use it, but it's not as versatile as having a switch you know. So I made my own little switch using, I think the cost of the switch was like, I don't know if it's $1, maybe $1.27. And then the faceplate on it was like 58 cents. So it was like, and then the box itself was like less than $1. So it's like under $3. Whereas if I get a battery isolator, it might cost a bit more. And you know, from my experience, I don't mind having a little switch so I can switch things on and off. But anyhow, thank you all for joining me. And if you've not made a McNoy sandwich in a long time with making, it's still as good now as it was ever. A little bit cold. I'm sitting here bottling. Anyhow, take care, everybody. Have a Merry Christmas. Be safe. Good to see you on here, Racer X. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.